Today is International Coastal Cleanup Day, and in Trinidad and Tobago, citizens across the country made themselves available to clean up some of our popular coastlines. Close to 200 volunteers participated in this year's cleanup of the Foreshore along the Audrey Jeffers Highway. Among the volunteers was the Minister of Planning and Development, Pennelope Beckles, who said she was pleased with the turnout. Mahalia Joseph-Wharton has more.
The 20th year that the International Coastal Cleanup is being held by the country coordinators for Caribbean Network for Integrated Rural Development in collaboration with the Ministry of Planning and Development's Environmental Policy and Planning Division (TT) and the Environmental Management Authority. Minister of Planning and Development Pennelope Beckles says the coastal cleanups not only beautify the ocean front, but they also assist with data collection.
Because then it helps us in terms of policy guidelines, and we get a better understanding of exactly what is taking place as it relates to pollution.
She's urging the population to take responsibility for what they do when they visit the coastlines.
We all treasure the opportunity to go to our beaches, and you want a clean beach, you don't want a bottle, you don't want to see plastics floating. And whilst we know that because you're talking about the marine environment and of course the oceans, we are connected, we also must take some responsibility and ensure as we go to our beaches that we too take responsibility.
The minister says in many instances, items that do not belong on the coastline are retrieved by volunteers, with the main material being plastic.
You can find a tire, you can find a bed, you will find clothes. As I said, plastics, when we look at the data, plastic bags and plastic bottles, when you collect the items, you would see that is one of the most prevalent of what we would find here.
Among the top 20 items collected during the International Coastal Cleanup Day 2022, according to CNIRD, were plastic beverage bottles, glass beverage bottles, utensils, food containers, and lines, nets, traps, and ropes used for fishing. Mahalia Joseph-Wharton, TTT News.
In South Trinidad, there was a similar scene as volunteers turned out to do their part for ICC 2023.
The residents of Labray consider their beaches to be among the most pristine of the island, and it was no surprise that many answered the call to help keep them that way. At Station Beach, representatives of the National Gas Company group of companies were among those volunteering for the 2023 International Coastal Cleanup.
From the general look of it, you wouldn't think that the beach is too dirty, but really when you get into the areas by the walls and stuff like that, you really see, I guess, the kind of worst of us, when we see the amount of garbage buried deep inside. And you actually sift through and you realize that it's these animals' ecosystems that we're affecting by all this garbage. This is not a light amount of garbage that we brought up. Probably about 60 pounds of plastic. I would have uncovered over 250 plastic bottles, and it just gets swept to the side, just pushed away, not really disposed of properly.
The volunteers were split into groups of 5 and had to record the items they collected. The activity left an impression on this 14-year-old student of Holy Faith Convent in Penal.
This is such a nice exercise because today I realized that doing pollution is not going to be a resolution, it's not going to make a solution for anything, but it's just going to pollute the earth more, and there's sea life animals out there that deserves better and their lives need to be protected.
September 16th, International Coastal Cleanup Day, was also an opportunity for the non-governmental organizations, especially those focused on protecting the environment.
Here we are at Point Sab in Labray, and we have partnered with Southern Sails, No Youth Left Behind, and Saltare, a couple of other NGOs who support us in our efforts in Labray.
These volunteers took their task seriously, braving the heat to ensure that our beaches and the life they sustain continue. Stacey Ann Providence, TTT News.